Well, hello and welcome to another Faith, Philosophy and Life. Me, Mr. Shelton. I do hope that you're doing well, and yeah, I do. Today we're going to be thinking about another one of those difficult topics. I know we've been thinking about abortion recently, and today is just as sensitive. We're going to be thinking about an end of life. Okay, so my first question is to you is it ever right to end a life? Okay, you've been thinking about that, and I'd like you now to think about that again. Is it ever right to end a life? You don't have to write anything down, I just want you to think. What about with this one? Would it ever be right in the instance of a pet to end its life? So, for example, I had a cat which I had to put down. It was very sad and very traumatic for me. The kids were fine. Yeah, we had to end it because it had cancer. It was very poorly. So were we okay to do that? What do you think? Should we be able to put a pet to sleep? What about this situation then? This is where we start to get real with some of the issues in the world. What about someone who is very old, who doesn't have much life left? They've got a disease that will probably be killing them anyway, and they just want to die peacefully. Should we, if they've requested it, should we be able to allow that to happen? What about this situation though? Someone who is in intensive care, who really is not well at all, who maybe even in a coma. Should we be able to end that person's life without their consent? Or who should we take that permission from if that person can't comment? Or should we always keep that person alive? So there are thoughts for the day, and we're going to investigate this quite a bit more during this lesson. As I say, there may be topics in this that you might find difficult. If that's the case, please do contact your teacher. We will be asking for a copy of all your work at the end of the lesson if possible, but obviously please, if there is anything in this lesson that disturbs you, do mention it to your teachers and turn this clip off until you have got permission from them. Okay, so go and grab your pen and paper, because here's our cheesy intro sequence. So our title today is euthanasia ever a good thing? Is euthanasia ever a good thing? And we're going to explore what some of the issues are surrounding euthanasia. This is going to be a 2-lesson topic, so we're going to cover some of it today, and we're going to unpack it some more next time as well. It's going to be good if we can say what euthanasia is. Great if you can explain at least one argument for and against it, and even better if you can reach a reasoning conclusion on if we think euthanasia should be allowed or not with reasons. During today's session, we're going to look at some key words, we're going to look at mind map, do a media clip, and then some reflection as well. I'm going to switch the keywords and the mind map round. So to start off with then, this is a particularly challenging task. I'd like you to look at this. Okay, now you need to look very carefully at it. You're going to have to pause me. You'll find a link in the description below which has this on it as well, but don't cheat in a moment with that though. So I want you to have a really good look at that, because I'm going to remove a section of it. And what you need to then do is in your book to write down that section. Now if you want to change the words to shrink it down, you can do, because some of those are quite long. So have a really good look. Okay, you may need to pause me because I'm going to take a section away. And then in your book, you're going to need to write what that section is. So here we are, our first section's about to get removed. So if you haven't paused me, please do so. Okay, here we go. What was in that box? Write that down now. Pause me and then come back to me. Okay, I'm going to take the next one away now. What was in that box? Shrink it down if you need to, and then pause me and come back to me. There's the next one gone. Ready for the next one? Gone. I've got one more. Okay. So my last part of this mind map is a particular challenge for you. I don't want you to write anything down in the last part of this mind map. I'm going to remove a sentence from each. Can you remember what was in those? Have a look. Don't write anything down. You don't need to. Have a look. See if you can remember what those were, and then come back to me. Okay, so the next thing then that we need to do is we need to look at these key terms. Now hopefully you can work those ones out based on what you've just read. So you need to write the term on the left to the term on the right. Which links up to which? See if you can work them out now. Write them out. If you're not sure, leave a blank and then we'll come back to them. Okay, so passive goes to a person is terminally ill and treatment is withdrawn to allow nature to take its course. No one does anything to actually physically kill the person. Passive is used a lot in the UK. It's basically when you turn a life support machine off. Wouldn't always be called euthanasia, but that technically is what's happening there because you're hurrying up death. But the argument is that the person wouldn't be alive if they weren't on the machine anyway. So we're kind of extended life because of that. Active then is the person is somebody takes an action to kill a patient, e.g. they give them an injection or a pill to help them die peacefully. So active is when you do something. Voluntary is the top one. The person is able to make their own decision about whether they want euthanasia or not. And involuntary is the person's unable to make the decision, so the doctors and the family make it for them. So you quite get often passive involuntary in the UK, where people turn the life support machines off because that's what the family would want. But you shouldn't get active voluntary because that would be illegal in the UK, but it is legal in other countries. But active involuntary would be classed as murder because you're actually doing something that they didn't want happening. So active involuntary would be classed as murder, whereas we've normally got active voluntary is the one that most people will refer to when they talk about euthanasia. So what we've done so far is we've thought about what euthanasia is and some of the arguments associated with that. I've got a clip I want to show you now. This is from the BBC. I don't know if it will play or not. Sometimes they do block the clips that I put in. If it doesn't play, the link is there at the top of the screen. If you just type that in a separate tab, that will take you straight to the clip for you to see. So this is from the BBC about life and death, and this is about euthanasia. So let's watch this now. Okay, so hopefully you've now seen that to do it. So what we've got is we've got some things here for you to think about as well. These are some big reflective questions that I'd like you to start working through. So the first is, could euthanasia be right in cases where a patient cannot give consent? Who should make that decision? What makes life worth living? Should seriously depressed people be helped to die? Should doctors and nurses impose their morals on other patients, and why? Should religious people impose their moral views on non-religious people? And how are you deciding how to answer those questions? Now, I know you can't see me right now, but I just want to talk about this one that I had that little blue box about should seriously depressed people be allowed to die. What you've got on the screen here is from the BBC News webpage, and it says this from the 6th of June 2019, why Dutch teenager Noah's tragic death was misunderstood. Okay, and there's a picture of Noah. This is what the, in fact, I'm not going to read it through with you. I'm just going to let you pause so you can read what's on it, and then I'll scroll down the page so you can read some more. Okay, now you can see why that's a really difficult story, because that's to do with, yes, it wasn't euthanasia, but had she been allowed euthanasia, she wouldn't have had to have put herself through that pain. So should she have been allowed that? So I'd like you to give that a go, work through those questions, and then come back to me when you're done. Okay, and our final thing then is you've got a little newspaper article from the Evening Standard there, and there's some questions there for you to work through. You know how long you've got left of this lesson. Do allow yourself 5 minutes though at the end of the lesson, because I do have something I want to finish with. So pause me now while you get that done. Okay, so we said it'd be good if we could say what euthanasia is. And we know that euthanasia is easy death or mercy killing, and that is superb. Great if we can state one argument for and against it, and even better if we can reach a reasoned conclusion. As I say, we are going to spend some more time on this next time. I've got some scenarios here, some situations to go through with you. Again, not going to read these through with you. You may want to make a few notes, you may not. There are 5 of these. It's the next one. Here's the next one. And the last one. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. Thanks very much for your time. Take care of yourselves. Stay safe. Wash hands. God bless you. And I'll be seeing you soon.